that the United States is a democracy, and we need to have our Congress and legislative and executive all work the way they're supposed to. That goes for Republicans and Democrats alike, by the people, for the people, and let's not be an autocracy.
I am terrified with what this whole administration is doing to our country, and Victoria Spartz is complicit with it.
They're cutting off the food to the food banks because the USDA is cutting off food to the food banks, and we have a dire need here in central Indiana for food. They're shutting it off.
My wife and I have been retired for a couple of years now, and we really depend on Social Security. And it's something that millions of people also depend on. And it's been there for 90 years. And if they do away with Social Security, there probably would be a revolution. And think things are bad in Ukraine? Wait till they have a revolution in the United States. It'll really be bad.
Do you support the kidnapping/detention of legal immigrants without charges or due process?
As you know, I'm a legal immigrant myself, and I support legal immigration, and we need to have better legal immigration, but people who come here illegally and break the law. I do not support open borders. I do not support cartels. I do not support lawlessness. And I've been on the border many times. These people take lives of our children and your children and your children and our children and our families. So this is a very serious national security situation. So I do not support all these illegals being brought up to the country. You are one of them. If I disagree on this issue, but I am supposed to border. Border, if country doesn't have a border, you will not have a country. If people who violate and abuse the system with lies, because cartels get the pieces of paper and they get some money to provide to our border patrol that abusing our very broad laws, and the Biden administration allow them to abuse the law. They violated the law and they need to get out.
The question was about legal.
They took 2 nurses out of the VA here in Indiana. Ice fucking.
The rule of law to protect our border and not come here illegally.
Excuse me. The purpose of the rule of law is to protect people.
Yes. And I will protect the people of this country. That is my number job, to protect this country from cartels and all of the violence that brings us to the border. That is my job.
To make sure that elected people follow the law. There was a court ruling to prevent those planes from leaving, and you ignored them.
Yes.
And you do it.
Yes.
Just a second, please. Back to the question I asked. Do you support the kidnapping, detention of legal immigrants?
Yes. Legal. Yes or no?
I haven't seen any kidnapping or anyone legal, so if you have an example, please share it with me and my people. We are not going to let people who are here illegally We are not going to abuse the law. We are not going to do that. We have to deal with law and order in the country.
Sir in the back.
Excuse me, I do have examples. Recently, several stories and videos of abductions from masked ICE agents have surfaced. Sorry if I butcher the name. Mohammed Ali and Ruliza Ozro.
Yes.
Such individuals, students on valid F1 visas.
Look up the
Shut up, sir. These have gone viral, and if you say you haven't seen these videos, tell your people who work for you to show you them.
I will look at the videos. I honestly don't look at all of the videos. Otherwise, I'll spend all time just for looking at the internet. I don't know that specific
I'm
thing.
asking my question. As an immigrant yourself, someone who came here legally, do you justify these acts? What do you plan on doing again? Shut up, sir.
You cannot talk to me like that. You cannot talk to me like that. I will answer your question. Don't talk to someone like that. Here's video. Comments to me, okay? You do not address. Yes.
What's like that every day? Legal immigrants.
I think there are a lot of protection for legal immigrants. Unfortunately, a lot of people come here illegally, and if you have a specific question in my district that you have, if it happened in Indiana 5, of someone who you believe is legally and an immigrant and has been abused, please refer to my office. I haven't had any cases like that in my district. You know, if there is if a case in Indiana 5 and you believe someone is here truly legally and we don't follow the rule, you please let me know and I'll definitely look into that. I don't have some cases around the country, but I have responsibility for Indiana 5. So if you have any specific cases in Indiana 5, please let me know, because I haven't seen something, but I know that the country is danger by open borders and allowing lawlessness. That is not acceptable. We need to be control. And I think for national security, we cannot open borders to cartels and criminals. That's not the way.
We're not talking about this.
Laura Smith.
Ridiculous answer. I don't like that, but I'm telling you the truth. You're not. Well, you're a terrible person.
Indiana farmers need potash to grow corn. We produce no potash in the United States of America. It is all imported from Canada.
Yes.
The tariffs, what are you saying to farmers who are going to be hurt and who are now struggling to bear the costs of getting potash for their corn because of the tariffs that are being enacted? I've spoken to farmers this week because this is my job, and I know they're struggling. What's your answer?
So what do you do?
I'm not, that's not the issue.
Okay, because I'm a farmer myself, so I'll share this with you.
You're also
I'm not just a farmer, I should not combine, but I'll tell you, the input costs become a bigger problem. Actually, not just Canada, actually Belarus is also big in potash business, and we shouldn't be dependent. With the war in Russia and Belarus, it caused a lot of problems because Russia and Belarus is one of the bigger producers of potash, which is actually a big problem too.
So you're not going to answer that question either?
But if we are going to be very, not dependent on countries, including any countries, we have to have more production back home. And we need to be able to have manufacturing facilities, because every time when we have pandemic, including your friend Canada, screw us with lumber prices because they have a control of lumber market. They were able to increase prices of lumber, which actually made all of the houses more expensive. That's what Canada was doing. So Canada needs also to become an ally in a lot of areas, or if they're not going to be ally, helping us to deal with this issue, then we need to stop depending on them and find out a better life and do things domestically. Because we shouldn't be dependent on a lot of countries. But price of potash was driven mainly because Russia and Belarus are big producers and we put sanctions on that. And that was what drove significantly the price of that, but we don't want to be dependent on Belarus and Russia too by any means.
The gentleman in red has had his hand up for a little bit.
The Democracy Now! just did a report about how Elon Musk's grandfather was deported from Canada for being a neo-Nazi.
And his mommy.
Yes.
His family moved to the apartheid government of South Africa, where they made their billions. A government based on the segregation of skin color. You say they're good people, you say you would have done the same things he would have done. Elon Musk was here illegally when his student visa expired. He was not deported, detained. What is your honest appraisal of Elon Musk in those? Good for you, buddy.
I didn't read all of his bio or know all his statuses, so that's not something. So my judgment of them is in direction of fiscal issues, okay? So on fiscal issue, as an accountant and CPA, and working with Doge directly on issues, him and a lot of people under him. I don't always work directly with him. He has a lot of people under him, that actually directly working with me. And a lot of these people are young people, that created businesses and technology and truly try to figure out how they're going to help government. So they're helpful to bring transparency to some of these issues that auditors should come to. Auditors was bringing these issues for us for
Do they have security
and no one paid
clearances?
attention. Elon has $200 million. People are just paying attention. You might not like it. You might be shocked when you go with it. You might like that. I don't know. We like it when your money are wasted, which is, that's a choice you make. I don't want our money to be wasted. I want to make sure that we have accountability, that we don't send blank checks. Because we run out of money, then we cannot help people back home. So we have to be much smarter. So I'm a big supporter of what they're doing, and people there, and they can help to make it.
The federal government keeps wasting a lot of money. We're sending money around the world. We need to start worrying about our citizens and our communities. Our communities are suffering. And her vote can help make that change.
Because we have to save country fiscally and make sure we deliver promises to the people. We promise the people, we cannot pull the rug under people's feet. We need to make sure that we deliver on Social Security, on Medicare, have better Medicaid for people, and better services. It's extremely important. And not have high taxes on American overall all working for government. President Trump is very committed. He really understands that working class people, that was his base, people who are elected. He appreciates a lot of people, and he's really true. He really cares about this issue. He doesn't need fame, he doesn't need the money, and I know that you might not like him, but a lot of issues that he's trying to do, I think will benefit a lot of people.
Can I ask a follow-up?
I have a question from Fran Hoffman. We are not related, so Fran, are you here?
Why does the working class have to shoulder this transition?
What are you?
What are you doing to make sure that we continue to receive our Social Security? The acting head of Social Security recently disagreed with court order and said he just shut the whole Social Security down because of that. He did not do it, fortunately. But can you guarantee that our Social Security is not going to be stopped?
No, I can guarantee you for sure. Your government is not going to be stopped. Your Social Security will be protected and will keep these benefits. But let me tell you something. So this is an issue, and I think I had discussion, some of you maybe it wasn't my town hall. This is an issue that, we will have to be dealt by next president, on a bipartisan basis. It cannot even be dealt with on a bipartisan basis. So I'll tell you, this is just,
yes. People that make over, I don't know, $175, they don't pay Social Security.
yeah, and I understand, and listen, and the discussion has to be, we tried to put last Congress, we introduced bipartisan fiscal, because it has to be bipartisan, it has to be done by Congress with agreement with the president. You cannot do a partisan issue, it needs to have 60 votes, you cannot even do it right now on Republican base, right? So we introduced in the Senate and in the House bipartisan fiscal commission. Unfortunately, Congress didn't want to do it. I fight with both parties. I said we need to at least develop a plan, put everything on the table. Let's have a serious adult discussion. Let's just make sure that we deal with that to make sure that the people that, for seniors, we protect social. And what do we do with young people? What are we going to address for young people? Because you guys have enough Social Security. The young people over there are in big trouble. And this is just a number. This is just a number. Listen, this is just a number. We have a lot of people retired, we have baby boomer generations, the numbers, we have less people working than Social Security is getting the money. So we'll have to have this discussion. Do young people want to pay higher taxes? Do young people want to have different services? What young people want to do? Really, that's a discussion that young people, I would highly encourage you young to participate in next presidential election very vividly and very intensely and decide. Because next president will have to deal with it. Because if we don't do anything, we have big cuts to Social Security. Everyone tries to avoid it. So as of right now, the only thing that president is trying to do, and Ilan, they at least want to make sure that we don't have fraud happening in Social Security. You probably have a lot of people trying to defraud you, calling you. I actually passed my partisan bill on dealing with defrauding.
I'm going to go join soon.
So that is the only thing we're trying to do. But unfortunately, until we have a bipartisan agreement to do, it's not going to be done.
Do we have a follow-up question on the other side of the aisle?
I have a follow-up. Well, she has a follow-up question. Can we ask her?
Can we let her finish?
I don't have her card, but she has a follow-up question.
Well, we'll need to let people first.
I want to know why you talk so fast so that we can't understand.
Well, I'll try to speak fast.
She doesn't have an answer. You drown us out with word salad. You do not answer the question.
Answer the question.
No, you do not. You don't have specifics.
I give you very specific answer. This issue will not be dealt for 4 years. For 4 years, it's not going to be dealt. But in 4 years, you will have a chance. This is an honest answer. In 4 years, you will have to have a chance.
I don't think we will.
To elect the president with a white people or not, who is going to have to deal with that. This issue will not be dealt right now because Democrats don't want to do anything.
But the overwhelming majority of all of the money that we spend in this country is on military, police, and fire locally. That's your budget. How can Doge, the president, the Republicans, pretend that they're cutting spending when I have heard not one thing about cutting the waste and fraud in the military?
You guys already know the programs that need support. You know that the soup kitchen needs support. You know people need housing support. You know this. And you know the CEOs that are taking off the top and screwing us. So why not just do something about it instead of sitting here lying to our faces that you give a shit about us? What are you trying to do?
Born with a silver spoon. But I'll tell you what the challenge is happening right now, is that our funding process is start functioning, that Congress actually start understanding. No one knows. Most people, I'm a CPA, I can put Excel spreadsheet together. Almost no one there can put Excel spreadsheet together. We have no staff that pretty much knows how to do it. No one cares what is in these numbers. Everyone knows campaigning, fundraising, trying to get reelected, and try to deal with the other side that's spreading lies and raise the money. That's all they do, and worry that special interest groups will spend a ton of money against you with lies if you challenge them and take the money. And I said, we need to be not afraid, need to be bold, and need to be able to come up to real money that sits in Washington, D.C. to make sure that this program serves the people. That's what we're going to do. We have 2 steps on that. One step is going to be reconciliation, where it allows us to look at this program automatically, that normally Congress doesn't do. And it's a lot of this program sits in very corrupt healthcare. insurance, hospitals, PBM, pharma making a ton of money. They're taking your money. I'm not against businesses making money in the private world. They're taking money from you and overcharging you with no transparency, not provided services. The second part is going to be our appropriation process. We cannot put our act together. So I asked, can we have a working group on this issue? They didn't want to do it. I had to fight with the speaker. I had to block the speaker's vote. Committed him to say, if you are not putting on the public record, the working group together, you're not going to be the Speaker of the House. That's not easy. I resigned from committee. I'm not participating in this clown show. I am going to deal with this issue. We have to deliver for the people.
So now we put a working group together, one dealing with reconciliation, one dealing with actual appropriations, and I'm trying to organize people. It's a lot of my personal work too, believe me.
It takes enormous amount of energy from me to try to at least move this Titanic and move the needle on some of these programs and have actual real policy. And I'll be very transparent with you what they are going to be. It is not very easy to come after your own party and actually challenge them like that. But I feel the country is at risk. And our fiscal situation is because we want to make sure we help people that are the most vulnerable and people of the provinces. This is very important, and I'll do whatever I can. I mean, tight majority helps a little bit. If we're going to have a tight majority, we're going to be I will be in real trouble. So we're going to try to do that, and I hope we might disagree on a lot of issues, but on some of this issue, I hope you can support me, because I think what we're trying to do, we're trying to save the money for the people that we want to help. And take the money from the people that are using it. So we are not going to be cutting programs that are important for the country. We want to make sure that they're better funded, the emergency services are better, that they're not wasting money, and they're more accountable to Congress, because they never tell us. Since we don't do authorization, that's unfortunate reality. Maybe it's complicated. The process set up. Congress is supposed to authorize the spending and ask these agencies, what are you doing and not doing? We don't do it. We don't do hearings, so Congress has forced to do it, and that's what we're trying to change.
Okay, well, no, and great. But, I mean, you guys understand that while you're doing this, the most vulnerable that you're trying to help are actually going to die. Like, you pull the rug out from underneath us and say, we're cutting all of this stuff while we go in and we figure out who's the bad guy, when we already know who the bad guys are, let's just be honest. Like, and now we've got people we are struggling here. We are struggling to keep people alive.
And that's what I understand it. And we didn't cut anything. We actually continue cutting right now. There is nothing that was cut anything at all, or planned to be cut. What we're trying to do, so right now we passed a CR. Actually, that's a Pelosi funded. We actually, Nancy Pelosi budget. We continue Nancy Pelosi, which Republicans actually don't like, right?
Can you guys just stop doing right and left and focus on right and wrong, please?
To continue all of the funding. But this cannot continue forever because we're going bankrupt. We have to start looking what is good,
get the spoon out of your mouth.
And we're trying to grow the economy, try to come up with that spending, and help create more jobs. And ultimately, that's what President Trump ran on. That was a message that he was elected to do. That is a mandate to Republicans that we read. He is not doing anything. He is not doing anything that people do not want. Majority, people who voted, they support it. Ultimately, in 4 years, you have an opportunity to elect different president, and maybe he or she will run on something else. You have
18 months to elect a new congressperson.
And that's right. But you can do that too. You can do that too. You don't like what you do, you will have a chance to express the vote. If I don't represent the majority of this district where I'm trying to do, well, you have someone else. That's what elections are for. But I appreciate at least listening to me this time, and I appreciate your questions. And if I can be helpful in any way, you let me know, because I think we can agree on more than you think. But thank you for being calm and asking questions too.
Okay, we're going to go next to Michelle right here. She's been patient.
I just have a quick question, because you've heard from a soup kitchen now that does not have the funding apparently to do what they need to do, and you have the ability as a person, not as a congressperson, but as an actual person who lives in this community, to donate and make sure that they have the money that they need to be able to feed the people.
That's right.
So what are you going to do to personally make sure that organizations like this have money? I donate to causes all the time. What do you do to donate to and support the causes in our community?
Well, listen, and I actually work a lot of causes. I live in Northville, and I will try to maybe do a little bit more in Delaware County, and a lot of causes. I actually volunteer in Soup Kitchen in Madison County, but I can do a little bit more in your community too. I live in Noblesville, so it's a little bit easier for me, but honestly, people here probably need more, and I'm trying to find good jobs to do that, and I try to do, as much as I can to help causes and volunteer. Actually, I volunteer in a lot of organizations, and I have a little bit more time. I'm very busy with my time.
That volunteering is great,
That's
but
right.
money goes
I
further.
agree with you. I agree with you. And I try to donate to a lot of organizations, to a lot of causes, and I think that's the right thing to do. I think, not for the government to decide which causes are good, but for us as individuals to decide which causes are good, which causes we like. We all like different causes. I think we actually need to allow better deductibility of charity donations for people, not only for wealthy people that do, that deduction, Schedule A deduction, but actually for the people that maybe do standard deduction, because I'm not that wealthy to do other deductions, but I do standard deductions, but so I understand that a lot of people maybe would do more if we would change the tax code and allow all of the people to be able to take benefit for the deductions to charity causes, because we need to make sure that these causes are actually supported. And
I want to follow up on what she said, because I'm Googling right now.
yes.
Congresswoman Spartz, your net worth
25 minutes.
is $25.32 million.
Tax the rich.
Her comment to what would you do to support Chelsea's Soup Kitchen? Ma'am, you could donate $1 million and you wouldn't even feel the pain of it.
Well, I wish I would have $1 million in cash. Most of the money is land, my farmland and land that we own. It's appreciated in value a lot. And maybe someday when I can retire and sell land, I have more money and I can spend more time doing this and actually help more causes on the ground. So I wish I would have all the cash that we have in land, and hopefully we don't have high taxes, because a lot of farmers on getting the land, paying high taxes, will have to sell land. So there is Hamilton County has a lot of appreciations of land, but but I think that is a challenge, and the farmers is a tough business, but I think in a lot of ways, but maybe someday when I can be able to retire, and maybe if I sell the land, I'll have more ability to do that. But I truly believe, listen, charity causes are important, and I'm trying to help as much as I can, in a lot of ways, and I can.
In the state of Indiana, I've seen this happen in Muncie. If a facility loses a payer source for a patient, they will get them 3 days in a hotel and ship them out.
Yes, that's
That's true. What will you do specifically? And I need an answer as a person, not as a CPA, not as a congresswoman. What will you tell your Republican colleagues that are saying that all these people on Medicare and Medicaid are all parasites? What are you going to say to them? Because what you're doing, and what I need to hear, is how many Hoosiers are you willing to put on the street to their death if you let any funding? Because here's the thing. You might not be voting for it now, but you're going to allow it because Trump is threatening you to listen to his budget.
That's right.
I need you to tell me to my face, as someone that's worked in healthcare since they were 18, none of my patients will end up on the street because you're worried about your immigration status being revoked by a corrupt president.
So I just want to make sure. Healthcare is an issue that I've been working for a very long time. And it's not an easy issue. But listen, and I work with a lot of people, and I'd be happy to hear your input, and I want to make sure.
I called your office every day.
I want to make sure. We actually have working groups, and we can do one in Delaware County on these issues. Please leave your information, because I'm very open-minded, because I like to hear firsthand experience how to do it, because we need to make sure that people on Medicare and Medicaid get the best services. And we are not right now like a Medicaid Advantage. A lot of these insurance companies overbilling us and not providing services. That's a reality. So we are going to come after bad stuff to make sure that these programs are better. So no one is trying. We actually try to make benefits better. on Medicare and Medicaid. We also need to make sure that we spend enormous amount on uncompensated care. Hospitals are cooking the books, and people are getting these huge bills and going bankrupt. 1 of 6 Hoosiers are going bankrupt on medical debt. So we need to start getting them accountable. What is really happening here? And start looking at all of that. So this is an issue that I actually brought up to President and endorsed to a lot of people. They never even, like after the, Obamacare repeal, every Republican, okay, we're done with this, we don't deal with healthcare. Said we cannot deal with healthcare. We need to make it better for the people. So that is an issue that I personally push for. And this is an issue that I want to make sure we address with price transparency, better competition for value, and better services. It's not going to be easy. We cannot do it overnight, but we have to fix these programs and make sure that people are not abused on these programs, because a lot of money are made, but most people don't get benefit. So I said I will personally work on this legislation to come up to bad stuff and what to do, how the doctors can provide those services, how doctors are not owned by hospitals now, and the hospitals overbilling them. So they will create a lot of perverse incentives in this area, and we need to fix it. So I am personally working on this legislation. I push on President Trump to work on this, and he's willing to back it up because he cares about the country. He is willing to back it up. I'll be very transparent. I want to make sure. So if you are here, you sign up to my newsletter, because I'm very transparent. There's what we're going to do. So I can reassure you, people will get better benefits. And we start
I need you to answer the question, because I'm understanding you're grand-sitting in this circular way. I understand there's fraud, waste, and abuse, and I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yes.
But I'm asking how many patients you're willing to let die on the street until you fix it.
No, listen, people are done with this now. We want to avoid this situation.
But what are you doing now? They've already been with Medicare for all. Support that.
Listen, it's going to be Medicaid for all, not very good Medicaid for all. I do not support the government takeover of healthcare. But I told one thing, and if you've seen my email, I said we have 2 choices. No, this is the choices we have. We are going to restore competition, or Bernie Sanders will prevail and have Medicaid for all. Will be full government takeover of healthcare. I told my side, we have to do something about that. And some of you might like it.
But you still don't answer the question. How many Hoosiers are you willing to let die while you figure it out?
We are trying to fix what we can to make sure that it's better. So right now, we haven't made any changes. So the changes we're going to do, try to improve price transparency, make sure that money go to the right causes. You're going to be seen, we'll be very transparent in that. That is an issue that I am personally working on. So I have the best legislation.
Patients are getting put on the street now, Victoria.
I agree with you, and that is not acceptable. We have to fix it.
Then legislate safe staffing ratios.
I'm working on that.
Legislate all those things.
I'm working on that. I'm working on that.
Thank you. It's now
Okay, let's have a veteran to say one thing. They hear. Let's let them they want to hear.
You ignored me the whole time.
They've done a very good job for me. I have no complaints. I've given them a 5-star rating, and I would rather go to them than I would civilian not. That's how much and they care, and I can tell that anytime I talk to them to fill a prescription or go in for a physical, they are there for me, and I feel good about that. So I wanted to say something good about the VA to maybe offset a little bit of this bad things about the VA and everything else we've heard about. Anyway, thank you very much.
I know we need to wrap up. I want to thank you for being here. Hopefully you can listen one next time, but I appreciate you being here. Even if we disagree, I appreciate we have a conversation, and hopefully we can have more direct conversation. Have a blessed weekend, and thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone.
If you want to know how to fight back,
I've never heard it put with so many words.
I thought you were going to take personal questions. I thought you were going to take personal questions.
My question to her was, how can she reconcile the deportation of the legal residents here in the United States when Elon Musk himself was here illegally when his student visa expired?
Protect our neighbors! Protect our neighbors!
Being a patriot does not mean agreeing with everything your government does or says. Being a patriot means standing up for the values this nation was once said to be founded upon, like freedom, democracy, and liberty for all. authoritarian government is not patriotism, it is nationalism.
Yes.
We fought the fascists in World War II, and now it's time to fight the fascists here back home. It is our turn to take the fight. We are not going to lay down and just be kicked on by these authoritarians, by these bullies. We will stand up and we will fight. Remember your oath. Many of us in the military, we took an oath to defend this Constitution from threats both foreign and domestic. But our politicians, they take that same oath, and they are not upholding their oath to the people or to this country.